Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am Mantis,
And I am Cal,
the
son of
stepson. We have done
Krypton.
over 120 fucking episodes. How do
I
you
was
not get
close.
the stepson of Krypton?
Look. I thought
Step,
your mom
step into my
was your real
office.
mom. All right, that's not my
Because
fault.
you're fucking fired.
Step into my office. Why? Because you're fucking fired.
All right, so I'm leaving all that in. So today, guys, we are talking about a real quick video about there's been a lot of news here lately about Shazam 2 with the post-credit scene. Man, I know it's seemingly old news, but there's still just these arguments and these discussions on whether or not all of that is canon in the new DCU. So we're going to jump right on into this because we, again, don't want this to be a super long video because we know a lot of this already going on. So, Mantis,
Yeah.
are you ready? Fade to black, just like The Sopranos. All right, guys. So, for all of us Superman fans out there that we loved Henry Cavill as our Superman. We loved the Man of Steel, and we loved what was going on in the Snyderverse. We got super excited at the end of Shazam, where we got to see
Superman. You couldn't really tell who it was.
it was Superman. And then, of course, Black Adam, we got to see Henry Cavill back as Superman. Because there was that big stand. We didn't know what was going on with him. He wasn't playing and all that stuff. So we got to see him again. And 3 fucking weeks later, we get the news that they're rebooting. But Shazam 2 was still set to release. So there was a lot of questions about is Shazam 2 going to be canon? And then we obviously had Blue Beetle release as well. Are these movies going to be canon in the DCU? Mm-hmm. And again, that news keeps flip-flopping back and forth. And as we see certain characters have made it from the DCEU to the DCU, a lot of questions are still coming back up even to this day about whether or not these things can be canon. Because James Gunn has come out and said that some things will carry over from the DCEU to the DCU because it's basically the rebooting of the universe. So in this universe, they are still these characters. Mm-hmm. Most of the stuff won't. Mantis, do you want to go over real quick about what was said in the latest article on Shazam 2?
Yeah. So I was reading this comicbookmovie.com, which is a great site. If you guys don't visit comicbook.com, you should. Or sorry, comicbookmovie.com, not comicbook.com. I'm sure that may be a great site. I don't know. But comicbookmovie.com is a good site. And in one of their latest articles, this was just basically consolidating news. Let's be real here. Most of these websites nowadays, they have quote unquote journalists that scour the interwebs and then compile thoughts based off of social media posts and then what they think about it. So that's exactly what's happening here. So, but anyway, as many of you may know that have seen Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods, as Cal was alluding to, there's a scene, and this is the post-credit scene, right? With the Peacemakers, Amelia Harcourt, or were you talking about a post-credit
scene?
I
was initially saying Shazam. The post-credit scene from the first Shazam movie not post-credit scene, but the very ending scene of the movie before the credits roll, where we see headless Superman, and then we get Black Adam, where we actually see Superman. Then in Shazam 2, I was letting you do the Shazam 2 post-credit scene.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, the Peacemakers, Amelia Harcourt, and John Economos.
You would know that if you ever watched the fucking series.
Economos. It's just a dumb fucking last name, okay? Anyway, they try to recruit Billy, right, to the Justice Society, and you were saying people are wondering if this is canon. And James Gunn literally said, "You don't need to be confused. It's not canon." So let's just, I don't know what the funniest fucking thing is. He picks the most random shit to chime in on and saying this is right, this is wrong. Like of all the controversial shit we've talked about, on this channel before now that he could have commented on and didn't. This is what he picked.
I think the reason why this one is so important is because we know that Creature Commandos is going to feature Amanda Waller and John Economos, and the actor and actress who voiced them in Peacemaker, well, not voiced them, played them in Peacemaker, is going to be voicing them. And then we also know Peacemaker Season 2 is going to be set in this new DCU, and obviously both Amanda Waller and Economos are in there as well. So it's kind of like, all right, well, if Peacemaker made it over and it branched over, and basically they're going to say season 1 was in this universe and season 2 made it, well, is Shazam going to? And that's where the questions keep arising, right? We don't want to beat a dead horse here, but that's what keeps making people be like, well, fuck, if you're bringing these 2 characters over, or these several characters, why wouldn't you just bring Shazam over? Because we, obviously a lot of people felt like Captain Marvel, aka what they call Shazam, didn't get a fair shake, and movie 2 kind of went off the rails, and was
I think you're right. I mean, and it even says, like, apparently James Gunn didn't ever like the idea of putting just random characters in those films, so basically ignore those scenes in Shazam 2. It's not canon, and as well as Black Adam. The post-credit scene with Henry Cavill obviously is not canon. I mean, we know that at this point. So, but anyway, so he was just confirming that little tidbit, which I appreciate. And you mentioned Creature Commandos. He also was asked whether Creature Commandos or Superman should be considered introduction to the DCU. Which he responded, quote, "I think both of them as individual stories that are a part of an overall universe. They both exist for their own sake. I don't see either one as an introduction, but Creature Commandos does come first." So, interesting quote there. He's not discounting the fact that that they're not in the same universe. In fact, he basically says they are a part of the same universe. So, but he also says you shouldn't look at one before the other as an introduction as to what the tone of the DCU is going to be. So, which I think is fine. I mean, I don't know how you could do that, being obviously that Creature Commandos is an animated series and not a movie. In my opinion, I don't care that he says here that you shouldn't think of either one as an introduction. I'm going to think of Superman as the introduction to the DCU. I don't care what he says. And I bet most people are going to feel that way.
First live action movie in there, but I think part of it is, and I could be wrong on this, but just kind of my take on the way James Gunn's been with things is because, again, he's not introducing this universe. We're kind of getting dropped into it already in progress, right? We're not getting origin stories. We're not anything. He's dropping this in. We've seen, fucking Hawk Girl and Hawkman. We're going to have Guy Gardner in there. We're going to have Mr. Terrific in there. There's all these characters. Now, they may be playing small cameos, but we're getting dropped into a universe that already is in progress. So I feel like that's what he means when he's like, none of them are going to be an introduction. Like, you can't look at, like, I need to watch this first because it's going to set up the tone for the universe, right? No, both of them are just going to kind of do their own thing. They just happen to exist in the same universe. Because we do know that in Creature Commandos, also Rick Flag Sr. is in Creature Commandos, and we do know that Rick Flag Sr. is going to be portrayed by Frank Grillo, however you say his fucking name. Grillo.
Yeah.
You should know that by now if you've seen any one of our other videos, because it happens every fucking video that there's names involved. So, so there is, obviously there's overlap of, okay, these characters are in this. You're probably going to hear mention of characters, but I feel like that's where he's going with it as far as, neither one are going to introduce you to these characters. You're just going to get dropped in and kind of start figuring shit out for yourself, which, if you're watching this channel, you should already know who these characters are. If not, shame on you.
You should know. And in our previous, if you're watching our videos, one of the kind of the next thing here on the list, like we've talked ad nauseum, I feel like, about the suit and everything. However, Gunn did confirm that the Man of Tomorrow's new logo is specifically based on the Kingdom Come version, which was what we alluded to when we were kind of reviewing what the suit looked like, and it looked like a Kingdom Come suit. Like that's what it looked like. Leave us to wonder. Yeah, exactly. Minus colors. And if there's any possible writing or plot points to adapt from the comic book version of that. So it's yet to be seen. Again, we don't really know what's going on other than the big. We know, like you mentioned, the other members of quote unquote Justice League or whatever you want to call them are there, but there's also that weird sphere. The servitor that we saw, which may have just been something they put on there for no reason. Who knows?
But we also know the engineer is going to be.
We don't know yet.
Well, too. So that could be something that the engineer and the authority have manufactured. We don't know. We're waiting on a fucking trailer. I'd hope we get the first kind of teaser trailer here sooner rather than later. But again, he's taking his time with it, and we appreciate that he's going to because. In a lot of these big budget movies, we've seen some not so great CG. You guys, if you are familiar with the channel, you know how Mantis feels about the CG. It is a sticking point.
It's the two things: bad CG and origin stories. I hate it. I hate both of them. Anyway, yeah. But one other thing, just the last thing here, kind of in the same vein here, which was kind of interesting, I thought, because I mentioned in our last video that we were going to bring it up, just a tiny little tidbit. Apparently, the way the MCU films were kind of written, he kind of takes a shot in a social media post at the way they shot things, and clearly it's kind of maybe how he saw other films being shot or written when he was doing Guardians of the Galaxy in the Marvel Studios. Apparently they like to shoot movies without a completed script. And at least from this post, which he says, quote, most of those weren't announced in some, he's speaking of particular other scripts, previous scripts. Most of those weren't announced in some definitive order. The only shuffling done was moving Waller after PM for a variety of reasons. And yes, unlike most studios, we never start production on a process if the script isn't finished. Quality is the utmost priority. So he's basically saying, he's talking to another fan about green lighting scripts that aren't done. And he's like, no, other than this Waller PM that we had to move and shuffle things around, the scripts are done. We don't make up this shit like other studios, and he's talking
about Waller because there's a series Waller coming out, but he's talking about Peacemaker. So we shifted those.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So shuffling those two scripts around for whatever, he doesn't go into that why, but he's definitely taking a shot at Marvel Studios. However, he can do that, and maybe I kind of side with his position on this. Like I would, especially if I was an actor, I don't want to get this shit changed halfway through, or my director or screenwriter is telling me that, by the way, your script's not done yet. We haven't finished it, but we're going to start filming. Well, I'd be like, whoa. But Marvel's doing it, and I mean, if they did that from the very beginning, it seemed
I don't think they've done that. That was not when the original, especially the first three phases were planned, because everything was too meticulous at that point. But I feel like, obviously, there's been bad test audience reviews, but I feel like that's part of what happened with Captain America 4, right? Is you started and you didn't have a plan, and then what you put together didn't work, right? And now you got to go back and reshoot. So I feel like... Yeah, I feel like they're trying to rush, and they were trying to get so many. And that's, my final thoughts. I feel like that's where Bob Iger stepped in and said, you know what, we're limiting the number of projects, because we are doing that, right? We got so many irons in the fire that we are just we're starting these things, and we don't have an end goal in mind at this point. We're just trying to see what works and what fits, and it's costing them, hundreds of millions of dollars. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Again, guys, let us know what you think about James Gunn's recent comments on several of these. I think that the most interesting one, though, is for sure the kind of dig at Marvel Studios on that. So, but let us know what you think in the comments below. And
do you think that Shazam should have made the cut, and Billy Batson be brought over to the DCU? Did he not get a fair shake? Is it going to be too hard to then all of a sudden reboot that character, so soon after he just had his movie? Kind of let us know that as well too. And if you have made it with us this far, we appreciate it. Consider giving this video a like. Right there. Like almost like Double Dragon. Just a boom. I'll have it like right there. Just
yeah.
Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss all this insanity here, because you love it. And doing all the bell notifications. I know YouTube's getting bad. They're going to want like a blood sample before too long. And God knows what else. But that way you don't miss out on the new videos, because we kind of stepped it up. We've been doing this channel for a little bit now, and now we're putting out 2 to 3 videos a week. So with that, let us know, are there subjects, are there characters, are there storylines, plots, and whether it be animated, live action, comic book that you want to see us discuss and maybe go into more information. We are working on some informational series that are really just packed with information and not as much of our craziness. That way we can kind of help educate the newer viewers that aren't as familiar with these characters, because James Gunn isn't giving you an origin story, but damn it, we will. All right? We can give you that origin story out there. I don't care what Mantis says. He hates origin stories.
I'm going to thumbs down the video. I don't care if we made it. I'll thumbs down it. I don't like origin stories. Fuck him.
What a son of a bitch. You see what I have to deal with around here, guys? So if I have to deal with him, at least you can do is like the video, all right? Because he's going to thumbs down some of them just because he's a douche. So
2 thumbs up for us. Do it for Cal, okay?
All right. All right, Mantis, do you have any more craziness before I fire you? I mean, in the video?
No, I'm good. Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. Just make sure they actually did something. Don't just tip them because they brought you food one time and maybe filled your coffee like once or twice. It's got to be like 8 times.
The last thing you need is fucking 8 cups of coffee right now. That was the most random public service announcement. We do thank Mantis for that. We've probably already lost everybody at this point. So that's going to wrap it for us. Yeah, exactly. It's going to wrap it for us here on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we will see you then.